Seven Footers crew, what is happening? We are back. You know who it is. Jarod and Jenna here to chat about the new season. Oh, Jarod, we are less than a week away. We are less than a week until
hmm
regular season NBA basketball.
It's
What
exciting,
time?
Jenna. It's one of those things where you feel like the summer flew by. It wasn't. It was you're kind of just like, man, are we done already? And it's like, yes, here we are. We are done. But I'm excited. I know you're excited. Lots happening all across the association, and we'll get into it. But it's always exciting when you have that first doubleheader set of games on TNT, which we will have next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yes. And next Tuesday starts our official betting segment. This is where you guys know your girl steps back and Gerard is out here picking money makers for you guys. It is no joke, guys, out here. I used to get texts last season thanking me, and I said, "Oh, you're welcome. I do all the work. I know how it is." Small joke. Y'all know I don't be out here doing these numbers. If you are a regular listener of this podcast, you know I don't like math. I've always avoided it, and I am still not good at it. So I don't talk numbers. And when I do, just know that Gerard has strategically put them in the show run for me. Thank you for holding my hand for so many years.
All good. That's what partners do, man.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's get into this because each day that passes by, it seems as though the drama is just piling up, and it is preseason. There's something wrong with that, right? Yeah. You would know that if you are looking at the news and seeing about the Draymond Green Jordan Poole debacle. You know, the tapes were leaked. TMZ published a video of Draymond, sneaking up on your boy Poole over here and just cracking him right in the face. Little shoving there. Looked like they were sharing some words. And of course, the rumblings were out for a few days before that, saying that they were apparently disputing over attitudes and contracts and things of that nature, which the Warriors have since squashed. And now Draymond has come out, apologized. We have not heard from Poole. And then Draymond took some time away from the team this week to let them heal. And his discipline, which should be internal, is pending. So that synopsis pretty much gives you the floor, Gerard. What are your thoughts on this? I will just say,
I want to know what you. Okay, so we heard about it, right? The news came out that the fight broke out, whatever. I think on Wednesday of last week, and then the video comes out on Friday. So when you saw the video, what were your immediate reactions?
My immediate reaction was the fact that, whoa, this isn't what I thought it was. What I thought it was like, a little shoving, maybe a little graze the side of your face kind of punch, if there was even going to be a punch. This was full force Draymond Green. And when I say full force, I'm emphasizing that because it was to me. And this was just like a cheap shot of sorts and just, again, a harder punch than I thought it was reported to be. And then my thought immediately goes to, there's a lot of things you could get past. But when you cross that type of line into someone's personal space, and again, I don't know what was said, but that right there, that's hard. That's hard stuff. I've never been in those shoes, so I can't speak from experience. But the thing is, how do you come back from that? And, of course, the narratives are going to run with, oh, Draymond wants out. Oh, is he loving LA? Like, what's going on? All the things which we'll get to. But yeah, how do you get past this? Especially, and the thing that puts a cherry on the top is they are the reigning champions who can make a go at it again.
Can repeat for sure. Not the way you want to start.
Dynasty
not the way you want to start your title defense. Right? That's not. As I say all the time, Jenna. And, shout out to Coach Thorpe on True Hoop. He says this all the time. It's an NBA season. The storm is coming at some point, right? Well, damn, Golden State. Why y'all got to make the storm yourself? Like some shit's already going to happen. Maybe this is their thing this year. Y'all already starting it yourselves. That's number one. And I want to go back to what you said about, and you were sort of searching for what to say because I feel like the issue was how it was presented is not what you expected to see if a video came out. And that's, I think, the part that's very important right here. The Warriors made it seem like, oh, this was no big deal. But, like
Water under the bridge, internal.
all the time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Stuff happens in the NBA. And I want to kind of parse through that because that's important. We've seen a lot of conversations online, Jenna, about, well, this is a workplace, that stuff can't be tolerated, whatever. And it's like, look, I understand, like, yes, it is a workplace in the sense that is a place where these people go to work. But I don't mean you and I, but the collective we, okay, allow different sort of rules to take place in a sports workplace. Okay. This is an environment where guys are being aggressive and, playing tough defense and doing
aggression is part of it.
Aggression is part of the job description. Okay.
Yeah.
So when fights happen in sport locker rooms, they're viewed differently than if you were at the New York Post, Jenna, and someone just walked over to your cube and punched you in the face, right? That's a very different scenario, right? Because that's not you don't promote aggression at the Post in that way. Your job isn't physical like that, right? Okay. So the Warriors make it seem like it's a dust up, happens all the time, blah, 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 whatever. So I took it the same way you did. And the video comes out, and I was like, well, this ain't exactly how you made it seem. Draymond and Poole are off the floor while some kind of drill or something is going on. They're not standing next to each other. Poole is more closer to under the basket. Draymond's more closer to the side. Draymond walks over to Jordan Poole. Now, again, we don't have audio. And by the way, audio does not mean that whatever was said gives Draymond the right to go over there and punch somebody, right? You're an adult. Use your words, as we say to kids all the time. However, once Draymond starts walking over, I'm like, well, something's got to be up, right? Okay. Draymond gets face to face with Poole. Literally, I mean, he could have smelled what Poole had for breakfast on his breath. Okay. I mean, he was in, right? I mean, they were literally nose to nose. As Jordan Poole, and maybe you yourself, you may not want somebody in your space. I agree. Why are you coming into my space like this, regardless of what I'm saying? Okay. Now, Jordan Poole could have done something different. He could have walked away and said, get away from me, Draymond, whatever. That was an option. He didn't choose that option. He chose to push Draymond out of his way. Okay. Jenna, there's a lot of like, whatever, back and forth. Look, I am not a fighter. Okay. However, I know that if someone is coming towards my face and is in my face and being aggressive towards me, and again, the closeness with which he was, they were basically nose to nose. That is telling me already, that's giving me information, Jenna. That is telling me that this person who is coming into my face, nose to nose, is unafraid of physical confrontation. Because why else would you crowd someone that closely, right?
Also, the fact that, just to point out, that this punch did not occur during a one-on-one face-to-face conversation. He walked himself over there. And put himself in the situation. I'm not saying, I don't know, who exactly started what, but I'm saying you walked over there to that man and put your hands on him.
Correct. So here's the thing. So again, it's tying into all what I'm saying. You walked over from where you were. This is Draymond Green walking over. If I'm Poole, my spidey senses are already up. You are now in my face, nose to nose. Again, that posture and that body language is telling me you are unafraid of physical confrontation, right? Someone who is fearful of physical confrontation ain't going to be, right? They're not going to do that. That's not what they're going to do. Again, Jordan Poole could have chosen to turn around and walk away, like, get away from me, Draymond, whatever. He didn't choose that, right? He extended his arms to push Draymond out of his way. People can argue whether that's right or wrong. It doesn't matter. That was what the sequence of events was. Once Jordan Poole put his hands on Draymond to push him away, at that point, you have to know all bets are off. Anything can jump off in that moment. Yeah. Am I saying Draymond is correct? Absolutely not. Draymond is dead wrong. And I mean, that was assault, what he did to Jordan Poole. Full on assault. But again, people I see like, it's a sucker punch. He didn't know it was coming. No, man. No. He may not have known it was coming, but that ain't no sucker punch. Again, and it's also
it would be a sucker punch if he was turned around and had his back to you. So you come out of nowhere.
Correct. Again, you are well within your right to want someone out of your face. 100%. You chose to do it, right? By pushing him. Again, you could have chose something different, which was turn around and walk away, right? If you turn around and walked away and Draymond hit him, well, we're not even having a conversation, right? Everybody's like, Draymond's wrong, toss him off the team, right? Poole chose to initiate contact with Draymond by pushing him out of his way. Again, I am not, Draymond is wrong 1,000 ways from Sunday. However, everybody knows if once you do that, you have to be ready for anything to jump off at that point. Number 2, KYP. Know your personnel. This isn't.
I was like, is this a trick question?
the player that came over in that aggressive manner wasn't Steph Curry. It wasn't, Andrew Wiggins, right? It's Draymond Green, whom you've been.
Did you see in the video? There was it looked as though a coach or some type of personnel kind of knew what was going on, or knew kind of trailed off and kind of followed in the corner. That's what I'm assuming. That's what it looked like. And it, he was probably like, "Oh man, this is Draymond." Okay,
it's Draymond. This dude. Okay, this dude went at Steve Kerr in the locker room at halftime of the Oklahoma City Thunder game in 2016. Security and police were called because they thought he was going to kill Steve Kerr. Okay. We saw what Draymond did to LeBron James in the finals that year. We saw Draymond Green going after KD in that game when they were teammates in the LA Clippers, right? Like, This is a dude who seems to always escalate things. Why would you, again, once you started that process of, and again, Jordan Poole is right to want Draymond out of his face. That is totally acceptable.
Yeah.
But again, once you start that initiation, you have to be aware that anything can happen next. Now, it doesn't mean that now it's a boxing match, whatever. Poole could have still got knocked out, right? But the idea that he didn't know a punch was coming, he should have known. It's Draymond Green, right? This was a situation. Now, let's keep in mind, Jenna, the Warriors were going to let this thing slide and handle it internally. What did Bob Myers say when he came out with his press conference on Wednesday or whatever day it was before the video leaked? These things happen all the time. We've heard reports that Jordan Poole has a bad attitude. That's not true. Draymond's wrong. We know he knows he's wrong. He apologized to the team. Somebody asked him, "Oh, will Draymond be missing any games?" No, we're going to keep that internal. I doubt he misses any games. They were going to let this shit slide. Then the video came out. Now all of a sudden, Draymond's not with the team anymore.
Also, okay, yes, incredible point. And again, I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but let's also be serious. If it wasn't Draymond, if it was another guy and not one of your core guys, would they be suspending him, or would they be doing it internally?
See, I love that you say that.
The ring ceremony's coming up. Where's Draymond? We don't want the drama.
I love that you say that. So in any workplace, there's a hierarchy, right? Employees that are high functioning and very critical to the organization's success are often given more latitude than an employee who's at the bottom of the org chart, right? That is true for every association and walk of life. It don't matter whether you're an accountant, a lawyer, a basketball player. It don't matter. High performing employees have more leeway than lower performing. That just is what it is. Draymond is a high performing employee. When you look at the Warriors' success, he is often, after Stephen Curry, the most impactful person on the floor for the Warriors. So they need him. And because they need him, they tolerate a lot of his nonsense. As I said before, this ain't the first time Draymond got into somebody in practice. Now, maybe the first time he punched somebody, but this ain't the first time he's gone jaw to jaw with someone in practice. Come on, this is Draymond Green we're talking about. But again, it's male testosterone, machismo, whatever. It's a locker room. We allow that. Okay, you allow that, right? You will. At some point, when you're the Warriors, you got to be like, look, man, this juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? How much longer do we have to deal with this type of behavior for a player who we admit is good and important to us, but is he this good and this important to us for us to deal with this? Mind you, he could have injured severely Jordan Poole, who is 23, I mean, super young.
Anything from the neck up
could have broke his face.
Serious stuff to me.
Could have broke his face. Could have broke his jaw. And Jenna, the other piece about this that we didn't mention was the violence in which those punches were thrown. These weren't like some, love taps or like, what? No. Draymond left his feet. That's how violent the punches were.
Yeah, you could feel the force behind that one in the video. It was just like, whew.
That was punching with malintentions, right? Like, that was bad intentions. Something, and Draymond came out in his presser and said, there's some things going on, hurt people, or something he put online. There are things going on in my personal life that are consuming me right now. Look.
Is that what he said?
Yes. All of that may be well and true. I'm not here to say he's lying or making stuff up. That could be true. I don't know. But my guy, you got to control that, man. You cannot bring that into the workplace where it causes you now, again, to commit. That was assault. He assaulted Jordan Poole. Okay, that's what that was. Now, the rules of sports and how we look at sports in locker rooms, Jordan Poole ain't gonna press no charges because that's not the society in which we live in and where sport occupies would not allow Jordan Poole to do that.
Well, because then if Jordan Poole does that, then he disrupts the camaraderie and
not only that, then people start being like, talking about,
is what people will say, is what I'm saying.
He's soft, he is, whatever. Like, right? All the silly, idiotic things that we allow sports to dictate in this culture, right, will be there. That's number one. Number two, we talked about this, or maybe you and I didn't, but Draymond wants an extension. He's in year 3 of a deal. He's a player option next year.
Yep.
Well,
I was going to mention that.
Let's be real right now. Warriors ain't putting no extension on the table for Draymond. So, my boy, you gonna opt in. Jordan Poole, he saw what Tyler Hero got, that 4-year, $130. He's like, oh, I'm getting that and maybe more. Which, by the way, Jordan Poole probably well deserving of all of that. Okay,
he was all smiles in preseason after that one.
If I'm Poole, I gotta be like, yo, this is a place of work, and this is what you allow. You allow this dude to wild out like this? Again, Jenna, if the video didn't come out, Jordan Poole was already going to have to eat a certain amount of that, right? Internally amongst his peers.
That's a good point.
But now that it's out, the whole world sees it now. So not only does he have to deal with that, he got to deal with everybody clowning him on Twitter, dudes around the league. And I don't care what look, these are human beings. They care what their peers say and think about them, okay? People gonna be talking about it. It's a messy and bad situation. And Draymond, if this team don't repeat this year, my guy, this might be your fault, bro. Like, you started this shit. Like, and it is a very unfortunate situation. And Draymond may have cost himself some money. Like, if I'm Joe Lacob and the Warriors, well, I'm not putting no extension out for you.
Either way, I think it's going to cost him money. I mean, has the league fined him yet? If not, why haven't they?
So the league generally prefers to let teams handle this. And again, here's what
when you see videotape of assault, you want to let the team handle it? Cool.
Here's what we don't know. If the video didn't come out, what would the punishment have been? This whole Draymond's away from the team, this is the punishment. It's a mutual. They're like, nah. How long is he gonna be away?
I also have a question. So, I saw snippets of the apology from Draymond. What I did see, I thought was good. He apologized to Jordan's parents and his family, which I appreciated. And thought he had some good things to say. However, I did not hear the entire apology. So if you happen to remember, did he at any point, I know he apologized and XYZ, but at any point did he say, I lost my cool, I take responsibility, I am holding myself accountable? I mean,
he did a little.
I lost my temper.
He did a little bit of that. He did deflect about saying, he did a little bit of that, but he talked about, again, the personal issues. He did spend some time talking about the tape getting leaked, and it's like, look, this is another like flashpoint on Twitter. It's like the importance of the tape being leaked, not being leaked, whatever. Here's what we need to know. Had this not come out, the Warriors would have handled this much differently. And now that it is out, they're going to have to, because there's the public pressure. If Draymond shows up on day one of the first game of the season, TNT Tuesday night against the Lakers, shit's cool. He's in the starting lineup, all good. If I'm Jordan Poole, I'm like, really? This is what we doing here? Cool.
And I want to see where your loyalty lies.
And I want to point something out. Shout out to my guy, Coach Thorpe, who said this. So Poole hasn't made any public statements about this since it happened.
Nothing.
But Coach Thorpe thinks that Jordan Poole said what he needed to say with the game he played the other night against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Very well.
I mean,
played very well.
He showed out and was like, look, I was like, wow.
And I was trying to look at his face. There was nothing.
And Coach Thorpe was like, that was Jordan Poole being like, fuck you, old man, big Draymond. Like, I'm getting my money. You cost yourself. Good luck in Charlotte, Orlando, or wherever the hell we trade your ass. Like, and I was like, wow.
I will say Poole's handling it well so far.
I mean, for him to come out like a G and have that kind of game in LA, knowing people will probably be heckling him and stuff, whatever. Like, yeah. And again, it's preseason, I know. But for him to, but still, Jenna, like, it fights, like, the whole world saw, the whole basketball world saw that, right? Like, to come out literally the next day or 2 days later and play at that level in LA at crypto, like, I mean, that is some mental toughness right there. He is a tough dude. And that, no doubt that also likely showed something to his teammates, right? More than anything, Jenna. So look, I would not be surprised. I mean, a couple of the Warriors players have said it. Draymond's and Marcus Thompson, the Athletic, wrote this and said it well in his piece. Draymond was a leader on this team. He vacated that leadership role with his actions in that practice.
Well said. And
Kevon Looney said after the Lakers game, Draymond's got some things to do to earn our trust again. And, I'm paraphrasing it, but essentially, and that's the thing. So, Draymond has lost the trust of probably almost all of his teammates, certainly of the organization. And, this is a problem for him right now. And it'll just be interesting to see, again, because Bob isn't going to say what the punishment is, but it'll be interesting to see when the next time is we see Draymond Green.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, on a last note, I don't like to, I'm no doctor. I don't like to diagnose people, but we do know that Draymond Green has a history of some tense moments. And I do hope that, if it's an issue with him not being able to control his anger or not being able to control these urges to pounce per se, then, you got to talk to someone about that.
Yeah. It was, yeah, that's that. And that is the final word, Jenna.
That is. Love that. All right, let's move on now because, I'm over this. Let's talk about some MVPs, or I should say potential MVPs, of course, because we're talking about the future here. Of course, we told you guys about the GM survey last week. Luka was predicted to be the MVP by the 30 GMs, and I just don't know why nobody chose LeBron James the most. But again, a me problem. Backing off. Let's talk about these potential MVPs, all right? And, maybe some sleeper candidates here. Of course, there's some numbers here that I'll say that really, Jarod will explain. Luka Doncic, plus 450, of course, the top of the leaderboard here for a predicted MVP. Everybody's really high on him, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that, I just feel like there's always something he's missing. And, it could be the fact that he might not be on a
good team.
Great team, but,
Yeah. Here's what's interesting about Luka. So, Jenna, this. We talk about this every year. The NBA NBA MVP isn't just a performance award. It's also a narrative award. Okay. Yes. And the narrative,
like the All-Stars.
Yes, the narrative has to fit. So the talk has already been among the 30 GMs, already out in the ether, as Luka as the MVP, because he's seen as the next one, as ascending, mainly off of his outstanding performance against the Phoenix Suns last year in the playoffs, in the conference semis, right? Beating the number 1 seed and going to his first conference finals, made all NBA first team. So the early narrative is already in his favor. And here's the thing. He played Eurobasket for his home team, Slovenia, which means he's in shape to start the season. So the Mavericks start out well, because that's been a problem for Luka, right? He's come in a little out of shape and he kind of ramps up late. So you lose that early season momentum. He's already in shape. They come out the gates 10-2, whatever. And he's doing Luka things, 28, 8-9, and all that stuff. He's going to get a lot of buzz for MVP. So at plus 450, that's still great odds, right? So those of you that don't understand the betting aspect of this, you bet $100, you win 450. That's what the plus 450 means. Now, Joel Embiid, another good narrative story. Runner-up for the MVP the last 2 years. Okay, is this the year he finally breaks through? Mind you, if there was no Nikola Jokic last year, Joel Embiid is the MVP, right? I mean, the season he put up, that in any other year, that's an MVP season. It just happened to be Jokic was even more incredible last year than he was the season before. So watch out for Philly, and if they're playing well, he's going to be an MVP candidate. Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this is now a stage of his career, Jenna, where it's like it was with LeBron and KD in their primes, right? Where it's like, well, every year they're going to be an MVP candidate because that's how good they are.
Yeah.
Giannis is that dude now, where it's like he's true. He's up there, right? Because you're going to get your typical 27, 10, and 5 or whatever you get from him, right? His relentless two-way play, all that stuff, and the Bucks are going to be good.
Plus, he's coming in with that kind of, and I feel like he's had this, of course, since they won the chip, but like with this weight off his shoulders. Mm-hmm. He's done what he's had to there.
Won a chip, yep.
So it's easier for him to unlock that type of level of his game.
No doubt. And we talked about this last week. He talked about skill. He said he's not the most skilled player in the league, right? But he is maniacal about his work ethic, right? And that is a skill. That's his superpower. So he's been working diligently on his game. He's going to be ready to come back in and play some big time ball this year. So if you're looking at MVPs, Jenna, those 3 are the likely candidates that I would sort of keep my eye on. Now, of course, you can't disrespect Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic.
I can't believe your boy's that low. I'm a little shocked. I'm not gonna lie.
Plus 1,000. I mean, look. So after Giannis, the next people are Durant and Jokic at plus 1,000. Right. Then it's Tatum at 1,200, Curry at 1,300, Morant at 14, Kawhi Leonard at 1,800, and LeBron James at 1,800. I'm not surprised.
This is wild.
Well, because the situation is, what Vegas is saying is, we don't think Durant's going to play enough games for him to make MVP, right? And what do I always say? The biggest predictor of future injury is what? Previous injury. Well, Durant's been hurt the last 3 years, right? So,
man,
there's no, right? It's not unlikely to think he'll miss some time again this season. And if he's not playing enough, and let's be frank, do we even know if the Nets are going to be very good? I mean, they could be, but they could also be a disaster because that team's full of drama, right? So, I mean,
you never know with Kyrie and.
Exactly. Now, if they are, because as I've said, they are talented enough to be the best team in the league. Yes. If they're doing that and he's doing his thing, he will for sure be in the MVP race, as he was last season until the Nets faltered, right? So that's just the reality of what it is. Now, Jokic, the last person to win 3 consecutive MVPs was Larry Bird in the 80s. I doubt Nikola Jokic will be the second player to do that. It's probably not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that he's not incredible. I mean, Jokic is
effortless. He makes it look.
He is phenomenal. He is just, his advanced numbers are off the charts. He's so good. And
you and your numbers.
Now that Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray are back, here's the thing. If this team is at the top of the Western Conference, it's going to be hard to deny him, right? So again, you're looking at stories that may work and who's going to do what. But Jenna, someone who I think is an interesting MVP candidate.
Who? Because I have one.
Zion Williamson at plus 2,000. Here's what I say about that. Howard Beck, a Sports Illustrated national NBA writer, one of the best in the business, had a piece that came out today about Zion and a lot of what's been going on with him. And remember, Jenna, we talked about it for a year, right? Like the whole injury thing with him last year was weird. I was like, that's a Jones fracture. Why is the team calling it a Jones fracture? What's happening? What's going on? So in Howard's reporting, he suffered a setback with the injury, in terms of it healing, and he was in a bad place mentally, which would explain him not talking to the media. And he, with the team's blessing, remember, he rehabbed away from the team up in Portland. That's when we were speculating, like, well, is this a Jordan Brand play? Are they the ones telling you what to do? What's going on here? Whatever. It turns out that he was just in a bad way. And once he got back with the team, when they signed CJ, and he saw what the run they did and in the postseason, he started to feel good about basketball again. And in Howard's piece, and I encourage people to go read it, he attacked this offseason relentlessly and with a maturity that he hasn't in the past. And Jenna, he got drafted at 19, first pick overall in 2019 draft, multimillionaire overnight. Like, we all like to think that development and professionalism is a linear thing, right? You get drafted, all of a sudden you're a pro. That's not, you're a pro in name, but maybe not in practice and what to do. You need to learn and be taught how to be a pro and how to do it well.
I think that just working on your mentals, being in that space, takes years and years of work. Oh my God.
For sure.
I mean, to do what Zion has done and been through, I mean, it's a different type of, and this is just my opinion, but it is a different type of low when people are attacking your body and your appearance.
No doubt.
And, I've had to write posts about it at the Post, but, reporting news and things like that, but never attacking someone's body. And when I say that, I mean the attacks from the internet and the public and the dissection of photos and things.
Yeah. It's a lot, Jenna. And, he had a conversation with CJ McCollum.
The perfect person to probably have on your team when it comes to that.
CJ is,
because he's so great and understanding. I mean,
he's the MBPA, which is the Players Association of the league. He's the Players Association president. He is a pro's pro. Like, this man is professional and understands the business of basketball and how to go about your business as a pro. And he talked to Zion about, look, man, nutrition, sleep habits, hydration, all those little things that, when you're 19, 20, you're like, no, my guy. If you want to reach your potential and be who you're supposed to be, you got to approach this as, I say this all the time, Jenna, this is a job. Like, I get it that it's a game, right, to us when we watch on TV and to fans, but this is their work. Think about your work. What's it like when you go to work? Not that I'm saying anybody does this, but when you go to work hungover, not getting the proper sleep, right? Your work suffers, doesn't it?
Your work suffers when you're just not taking care of yourself. Like, in that way, you're going to bed late. You're eating terrible things right before you lay down. You're going out to 10,000 events a week. Like, you can't do it. It's not sustainable. You don't feel good. You can't perform good. Your mentals aren't right.
Think about that. And our jobs are not physical in that way, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if you are not doing the proper things and your job is physical. It's a problem, right? In that
That's
sport,
part of it. Yeah.
That leads to injuries and different things. So anyway, CJ said that, he's really attacked, he understands that this is about him and how you have to approach this as a professional. And Zion, from everybody I've talked to down there, he's in the best shape of his young career. He's hired a professional chef. He's no more soda. It's water. Like, he is, and he's unveiled some things in his game. And Jenna, this team, they started the year terribly, but then they made the play-in tournament, won that, and advanced to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And took the Suns 6 games. If he's healthy this season and ready to play, I mean, think about it. The last time we saw him, he was averaging 27 points per game on the most absurdly efficient efficiency numbers. 60% effective field goal, 65% true shooting. That is stupid. Like,
out of control.
He was already the best interior scorer in the league at 20 years old and borderline all NBA. So if he's taking his craft seriously now from what he has to work on his body coming into this season, look out, NBA. And again, this team was already good last year. If they come into, they could be in many ways what Memphis was last year.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And if they are that, as Zion is averaging 28, 8, and Oh, he'll be in the MVP conversation, my friends, and he will, because that'll be a hell of a narrative story. So
No, it's a great pick.
Watch him as a sleeper.
I agree. I like it. That is a great pick there.
Who do you like as a sleeper?
I didn't really have so much of a sleeper. I was just looking at this list and just like, I feel like I'm such a Jason Tatum hater, or it makes me look like one. But
What do you mean?
Well, because I tweeted the other day. I don't know if I told you this. I tweeted somebody. I was at an event and somebody was like, "Yeah, Jason Tatum's top 5 NBA." It was like,
and you were like, "Hell no."
I tried to not say anything. I did. I'm working on it. But I was just like, oh, come on, bro. Like, no, don't do this. And you know me, I don't pretend to be the most educated person in the world, but I was just like, maybe top 10.
It's tough, right? Like, I'd say top 10. I mean, the top 5 is tough.
I was like, so whose spot is he taking? Giannis, Jokic, Durant, KD,
Embiid,
throwing Steph if you want.
Steph.
Embiid.
I mean, like, there's a lot of dudes up there. It's a lot of dudes up there.
I'm just like,
look, the thing about it is everyone likes to think of like top 10, top 5, whatever, as these fixed points. Oh, yeah, it's not. As is the best player in the world title, the mythical title of who's the best player in the world. That shit rotates. Okay. Like, a guy has a hot month, you're like, oh, there's the best player in the world. Like, it changes, man. It's not some fixed thing you hold forever. Right? Like, even when LeBron was the best, it wasn't like he was the best player in the world every day of every single, right? You have weeks where you're like, oh man, that year that KD won the MVP, those 2 months, I was like, I don't care how good LeBron is. He ain't KD right now, right? Like, I mean, this stuff switches. Like, it just is what it is. But anyway.
2 sleepers. 2 sleepers for you that I'm thinking people are gonna laugh and call me crazy, but it is possible because they have been in the conversation before.
Okay, let me hear it.
James Harden.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Well, what? He lost all this weight.
I mean,
50, tweet that. And, he's apparently in an environment that he likes. I mean, at one point, this man on multiple occasions has been in this conversation.
I mean, he should have probably won more than one MVP, but yeah.
But in my other one, just got paid, just secured the bag, happier than ever, seemingly. Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow, you went way off the board. Okay.
Oh my gosh, so off the board that people are going to question my sanity. But it is okay.
Karl Anthony Towns plus 5,000. So he is a long shot.
I told you guys I'm not a better.
James Harden, let's see where he is. Is he even on the board?
Probably not.
He may not even be on the board, Jenna. I mean, James Harden. Oh no, he is plus 7,000. Okay.
What I'm saying is, what I started before I said this was, it's possible. It is just possible.
Anything's possible. Look, the reason why I'll say that
Garnett.
That Harden,
or no, was that Kevin Garnett?
It was Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
After the Celtics won the title in 08. Here's what or 09. Here's what I'll say about Harden. He's not going to. I mean, Embiid's gonna, like, being on a team with Embiid is going to, in many ways, preclude him from winning an MVP. So there's that.
Facts.
And with Karl Anthony Towns, look, we have long said how talented Cat is. Starting the season off with that infection, he was in the hospital and lost some weight.
Yeah,
that's going to give him
That's what worries me.
That's going to give a slow start out the gate. And then Anthony Edwards is the guy that people like in Minnesota.
Ooh.
And as I say, this is such a narrative-based award. When that video in the playoffs came out of how Cat actually sounds when he talks, and you know how people clown him. Like, it's just one of those things where
you just send me that video. I've definitely seen it, but
it's just like, everyone's gonna be like, anyway. But I love your guts for going off the board with those picks.
Thank you. You're the best. But I'm sure I'll get the trolls and the notifications very soon. It's all right. It's fine. I'll be all right. But all right, now that that's over, because LeBron James wasn't at the top of the list. Oh, there I go again. Let's talk about some news and notes around the league, because this one is interesting. And there is a point guard who is waiting for somebody to call to give him a job. So we'll eventually get there. But the Charlotte Hornets all-star LaMelo Ball, he's been diagnosed with a grade 2 left ankle sprain, and he's going to miss some time. That's according to Shams Charania of the Athletic there. So... And then, ironically, this interview just comes out with my guy, Kemba Walker, telling the Boston Globe that no one has reached out to him for a job for All-Stars. It's fine. I know he's got that nagging knee injury, but come on over. Come back home to Charlotte. Spend his first 8 seasons there. Don't play with me like this.
Look, hopefully LaMelo gets back soon, but Charlotte's going to be bad anyway. So I mean, what do we like, right? Like,
I just want
okay.
to see Kemba in the league.
I mean, and Kemba, unfortunately, when small players start to get that injury bug, it's tough. It's
You and
tough.
the small guy.
But it's
You
true.
the
It's
small guy
true.
syndrome.
It's true. It's just tough, man. But Kemba, great college career, made those 4 All-Star teams here in the NBA. Those injuries just kind of savaged him a bit. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, since the Celtics. Then he got shipped off to OKC. That's when you know. That's
It's
when
pretty
you
much
know.
over at that type.
Yeah, that's it. The decline. All right, let's talk about some exciting hype around the league about the top 2 draft prospects for next year, Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. Now, these two faced off in an exhibition game in Vegas, the Metropolitans 92 and the G League Ignite. Of course, Scoot is repping the G League Ignite for a minute there, so he's kind of had more experience, but Victor showcased in his first ever game on U.S. soil and drop, what was it, 37? I'm trying to remember the stat in my head.
37.7 of 11 from 3.
This kid,
yeah.
There was a photo on Getty. I'll send it to you when we're done. He's stretching and he's like diagonal. I mean this, I am not making fun of the kid. I'm just trying to put it in perspective here. The toes on this kid, my entire arm, like, I mean, it was a sight. Sight. I mean, people are saying that this guy is going to be like the next, the hype is better than LeBron James. Like,
yeah, that's what they're saying. Best high school prospect since LeBron James. I don't want to get into hyperbole, but what I will say, Jenna, is this is the evolution of the game in many ways. Now, let's also be clear. There aren't a whole bunch of 7'4" people walking around planet Earth. Okay, let's just start with that baseline, right? The pool of 7'4" people, real small. But he is highly, highly skilled, Jenna. I watched both those games he played because they played 2 games against the G League Ignite.
Yeah,
he might have even been better in the second game, even though he didn't shoot the 3 as well. Like, I was just like, this guy, like, he's just so fluid with how he moves. At 7'4", you ain't blocking that shot. And look, I think this kid is the real deal. Again, shout out to my guy, Coach Thorpe, who is a professional development coach in basketball, coaches NBA players and other professionals around the world.
Yeah, what did he say about this?
He's like, look, it depends on what a team is smart enough to do with him and what Victor wants. Because with the way he shoots the ball and his jumper is pretty, he can be a Duncan Robinson type player. And what Coach Thorpe means is that he doesn't have to be a primary ball handler. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be like KD or whatever. First of all, it's taxing when you're a primary ball handler. Okay, that takes a lot of energy. Number 1. Number 2, he's 7'4". His dribble point is too high. Okay, it's basically at the chest of a smaller guard. They're going to take the ball from him every time. There's no need for him to do that. Run him off pin downs and different actions, giving him 12 threes a game. This guy's making 5, 6 3. I mean, he's doing that. He's getting the line. He can average 25, 27 points doing that. And then defensively, he's a monster, right?
That wingspan?
I mean, he's 7'4" with like 8-foot wingspan. He's like a condor. Okay. Like, he's going to block like a gajillion shots. I mean, he puts in that kind of defensive ability with that shooting. That is an MVP candidate right there. And it just looks differently, right? It's a different kind of MVP. It's not a ball dominant MVP, which he doesn't have to be, because toss him out, ball, catch and shoot. Again, 7'4". He don't even see you when he gets up to shoot, right? Like, he don't even see you.
That's wild. I mean, hey, that's going to be interesting with the draft. But real quick, thoughts on Scoot Henderson. Yeah. I feel like he's not getting as much love because of the phenomenon and the anomaly that Victor is.
Scoot was great.
Talk to me about Scoot.
Scoot was great in that one game. He got hurt in the second game early and didn't finish it out. But I like his shooting has improved, it looks like. I'm not sure if that's something that we can hold all the way through. I want to see a little bit more. I think decision-making needs to change a little bit. Like, I think he's a little shot happy at times, but I love what he can do. He's competitive. He gets to the rack. He can finish. He can make a little bit out of pick and roll. I like a lot of what I see from him. I think, obviously I think Victor's number 1, but I think if you take Scoot number 2, again, this is assuming nobody else emerges between now and next July, which of course that could happen. But I love those 2 guys at the top of the draft right now.
And you see Victor's personality already, that quote that I saw floating around line, if Scoot was never born, then maybe he'd be like the number 1 prospect.
Exactly.
How old are these kids off the top of your head? Do you know?
18. 18? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's wild stuff right there.
Wild,
I mean, could you
wild.
imagine like
I
having a
know.
kid that's like 7 foot at like
7'4",
15?
7'4". Like it's crazy. It's and think about
Right.
this, Jenna. He's going to be on the French national team for the 2024 Olympics, which happened to be in Paris. And Joel Embiid, who is a recent U.S. citizen, but he was born in Cameroon, which makes him a French citizen. Team France, if Joel decides to play for them, could throw out a front line of Victor, Joel, and Rudy Gobert.
I would probably forfeit.
And if they zone off, listen, you better be hot shooting from three because you ain't scoring no points at the rim.
Nothing. Oh man. Good stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm putting out in the universe right now that you're going to go to Paris and cover this. I know it.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Putting that out there.
All right. Let's talk about, of course, the Nets. I mean, when are we not talking about the goddamn Nets? I'm not trying to be a hater, but
they are.
But let's talk about KD continuing to be KD and troll all of us because it's what he does best. It's funny at this point. KD on his ideal minutes workload, quote, 48 again, period, unquote.
Oh man! Like everyone who's in this pod knows, KD's my guy. It's my favorite player in the league. Look,
yeah, we know.
He hates being asked questions about minutes. He just does because he just, his quote has been numerous times. Let me just die out there. I don't care. Like whatever. And it's like, bro, you are 34 years old. You can't be playing these heavy minutes. I know you
off that Achilles.
Right. I know you think, oh, I gotta play my minutes. Whatever. It's like, dude, this team needs you to be healthy in April. If you got to log heavy minutes just to make it to April, you ain't gonna have no gas come the end of the season, like we saw in the postseason last year against the Celtics. I don't care what he says. You can't tell me that wasn't a large part of that was fatigue, because you had to drag that team into. First of all, this team was in first place on New Year's Eve in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you go out with an injury, team loses like 10 in a row. They're playing. You got to come back and literally go ape shit for this team just to get into the play-in.
Yeah.
Well, you used up all your gas. So now, playoffs, you had nothing. You get swept by the Boston Celtics. So, no, KD, you ain't playing 48 minutes. I'd love to see Nash keep him down around 32 for the year. It's going to be hard because, got to tell KD no, which good luck with that. But I love.
Especially if you're Steve Nash.
Yeah. I'd love to see KD at 32, 33 minutes for the regular season. Give him some strategic rest in there. Play him no more than 65 games. That way he's ready come postseason time. But, that's just me.
Hey, maybe with the addition of Ben Simmons on the floor, it can give a little buffer while KD takes a couple minutes on the bench to take a break, because he spoke highly of him recently and said, that they're just going to trust in him. And he emphasized being aggressive, for Ben to be aggressive. And who cares if you make or miss it? And just things about that when talking about getting his kind of offensive confidence up. So that's nice. Hey, I mean, if it seems like he's happy and, he didn't have a bad debut last week in a loss to his former team, but hey, all is well until you get on the floor. We'll see.
And Nash talked about it as well. It's good that they're all showing support, and they're going to have to continue to do that. KD said something interesting this week. He was like, the vibes of training camp and all that are all well and good, but what's going to happen when we start a losing streak? What's the vibes going to be like then? That's what I want to know. And
yeah, that's a good point.
I agree with KD, and what I want to say is that's on you, my guy, as the leader of the team. And I know this is not KD's strength, but you as the leader, you've got to keep those vibes positive, right? Because those guys react and follow you. You are the best player. That's what happens. Yeah, there's a coach who's got to set a tone and GM and all that. But if you come in and you're sulking and you're whatever, what do you think they're gonna do? They can't be positive. If their best guy is not feeling that way, they're not gonna be able to do it. So that's on him to keep that vibe high when things go, and keep the support around Ben Simmons. It'll be interesting to see, because Ben's gonna take some time. Guys, he hasn't played basketball in over a year. It's gonna take him time. And KD said this: pick up is one thing, practice is one thing, training camp. You got to get reps in an NBA game. He hasn't played an NBA game, a real regular season NBA game in over a year. It's gonna take him some time to get his reps in and get familiar. He's playing with a whole bunch of new dudes and get used to playing with new dudes. So it's gonna be a work in progress. And it'll be interesting to see how Brooklyn handles that rockiness, because it ain't gonna be smooth sailing right away.
Right. especially everything that went on. We've already talked about this, so not to hash it up, but just saying everything that went on this past summer. I mean, it's a lot of leaps to get through. So interested to see how the chemistry gels this season. So we shall see. The next time we are talking to you guys, are we in the regular season? Let me check this calendar.
Yeah, we are. The next time we talk, yeah, you know it. It's regular season time.
That night, the Lakers will be playing.
Lakers and Warriors will be the second game, and the first game will be Celtics and 76ers on TNT.
It's going to be a great debut. I am so excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Make sure you guys stick with us. You guys know the drill, and be prepared to line your pockets next week because Jarod is going to kick off the season with his picks on our betting segment. Nice, Jenna. In partnership, as always, with the Props Network. We love them over there. And, Jarod, again, it's going to get you guys that cash money.
That's it. We got here trying to win you some money, folks. As always, we are part of the Props Network, at Jenna said. Follow us on our social media accounts at 7footers Pod on Twitter, at 7footers Podcast on Instagram. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that jazz. At JS Hector, at Jenna Lemoncelli. And until next time, everybody, peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Plotted some jobs, but I ain't hit back. I don't want to trap with some man going